We are just a month away from the pre release of Secrets of Power, and today we're going to be talking about the cards that have been spoiled up until now and what potential impact they could have as the first three sets rotate out. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rich with Suns Down Gaming, and let's get at it. We're about halfway through preview season, so I want to talk about some of the cards that I think might have a potential impact on Premiere. We'll do a video on Twin Suns later. It's kind of my favorite way to play Star Wars Unlimited, but today it's going to be about Premiere. As we get closer to March and we see the first three sets of Star Wars Unlimited rotate out, some of these cards could have a potential impact post rotation. I do think these cards are really good as far as things that they can do, the new mechanics. I'm really huge on plot, but we're going to look at each aspect, just a handful of cards. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be meta breakers or anything like that. Just cards that I think they could see some potential play in a variety of different decks as we move towards that rotation. So moving right along, we're going to talk about Vigilance. We're going to start with Villainy in each aspect that we're going to talk about. I am a huge fan of plot, so the first two cards that we're going to talk about both have plot, Cad Bane and Sly Moore. So Cad Bane has some utility here on the 5-drop. He is a 4/5, 4/5, and when he deploys, he takes out a unit with 2 or less remaining HP. Now, what that allows us to do is be kind of strategic. We get a body, we get to remove something, if that's what we want, but not having to make a decision with the cards that we draw, and we can easily resource them, makes everything infinitely easier. Now, the second card is going to be Sly Moore. So I'm real huge on Sly Moore. Sly Moore is going to allow us to deal with something that most decks kind of have an issue with. So decks like Sabine, extremely aggro decks, having that being able to be kicked out on resource 4 or anytime after via plot, and then it basically -2, -0 for the phase if they're going to attack base. So it allows so you're not going to be taking as much damage. You get a body, it's a 2/6, can soak up some damage, pick off some of the smaller units. I just think there's a lot of versatility there for a 2/6 that via plot. The last card for Villainy Vigilance is going to be Emergency Powers. So Emergency Powers, I think, does something that we haven't seen a lot of in Star Wars Unlimited, and being able to utilize as many resources as you possibly have, being able to play it at any place on the curve. Obviously, you don't want to play it at 1, otherwise you won't get any benefit, but it allows you to fill the gaps in your deck when you need it, as you need it, but also has potential for turning smaller units into something big. So something that kind of pairs insanely well with this, and I'm not going to talk a lot about cards from previous sets, but is Axe Woves. So Axe Woves does something that no other units really do. He gets +1/+1 for each upgrade on him, and pairing that with Emergency Powers, however many experience tokens he has, he gets +1/+1 on top of that. So this could make for some potentially insane plays. Come back from behind wins, but it really depends on how much removals printed between now and the next set, the first set of year 3. But I think there's a lot of potential for upset games coming out of nowhere, comebacks, and it's really going to change the entire way that this game's going to play moving into rotation. Now, moving over to Hero Vigilance. There's not a lot of cards that have been previewed that I would really want to talk about here. Really, the only one that comes to mind right now is Cassian Andor. He's a 2 for 2/2, but kind of unique in the fact that while this unit is defending, the attacker gets -2, -0. But if an enemy card ability would deal damage to this unit, prevent 2 of that damage. So, he doesn't get daring rated. He's not able to be ping damaged. Kind of pseudo Boba Fett's armor, which really once Boba got banned, it didn't see any play other than Twin Suns. But realistically, I honestly feel right now, based on previews, that that's the only card that I would probably play. probably not everybody's choice, but definitely want to see Cassian in some decks for sure. Lobot, just to have something else in this area. Lobot is a neutral vigilance card. I think this is really a card that we'll see some use. Hantu blue, probably in some Kira decks until rotation, but I think this is really meant for post rotation to fill some of those gaps for cards that we're going to lose. Not an insanely great card, but I definitely see it being played in a couple different places to fill those gaps. So for Cunning, we have 7 cards that I think will have some sort of impact somewhere. The first one is Screeching TIE Fighter. So Screeching TIE Fighter is a 1-cost 2/1 that has an on attack. You may choose a ground unit. If you do, it loses keywords for this phase and can't gain new keywords, but loses it for the phase. So what that could potentially turn off is like Raid, Restore, anything, Sentinel, and allow you to kind of sneak through there. It already has a home in Invader Swarm, but could potentially be used to round out curves in anything with Cunning Villainy. Another great card that I think is going to be played pretty widely is Arrest. So Arrest is a 2-drop that temporarily slows down the game, but allows you to clear upgrades and can slow down the tempo for your opponent. Your base captures an enemy non-leader unit at the start of the regroup phase. Its owner rescues it. So instead of putting it behind a unit that can be attacked and can get it back sooner than the regroup phase, but it's well costed at 2. I think it's going to allow a lot of upgrade hate. Bamboozle's gonna leave. Waylay's gonna leave. We're seeing a lot of utility for Cunning decks disappear. So I think this is a good add, at least for Villainy. Now these next 2 pieces I think are pretty important. Grand Moff Tarkin is a 6-cost 2/6 Imperial Official. When played, take control of an enemy unit, non-leader vehicle unit. When this unit leaves play, that unit's owner takes control of that unit. But what that allows you to do is, take vehicles late game, things like, at least for now, Avenger, Relentless, take Annihilator, anything that's kind of real big at the end, Devastators, and allow you to take control of it and kind of swing the game for yourself. Especially, Cunning doesn't really have a whole lot of pieces to fight control decks, which they're infamous for running out your units out with removal and then playing big ships at the end to try and seal it up. So this gives you a way to combat that, at least in the interim, until we get more pieces from the set. Next card is Thrawn. Now Thrawn, 7-cost, 8/7. Imperial Official as well, but he is one of our legendaries for the set. So I think he's got a lot of utility here. When played, an opponent may choose a non-leader unit they control. If they do, this unit captures that unit. If they do not, you ready this unit. So right off the bat, there is some played synergy to get a lot of utility out of them right away. At a minimum, you get to capture something, which is probably going to happen more often than not, but running into late games against control, if they don't have anything out for you to capture, you have the potential to be able to swing in the base for 8 damage. That's huge. And his when defeated, friendly unit captures an enemy non-leader unit in the same arena. So, I've already been wanting to play JTL Thrawn, so I think this might have a home in Thrawn Yellow with Legacy Run, things like that. But I think as we see like Cad Bane from Twilight rotate out as well, I think this is a good replacement for him. Capturing units, getting when played and when defeated. It's huge. The impact could be huge. Now for Cunning Hero, there hasn't been a lot that I have really liked come out for previews. What was previewed this week was the Junior Senator. That's a 2-cost. 3/2. It's pretty well statted. Republic Official, when played, you may return an upgrade that costs 3 or less to its owner's hand. So it doesn't get rid of it, but it does allow, to kind of slow the tempo down for your opponent. Also gets rid of things like Entrenched, Perilous Position, also Constructed Lightsaber. In a meta where Kylo ECL or Kylo Data Vault, I've seen a couple different iterations of it. Making sure that if they don't get to flip out with Snapshot, that you're able to remove something or things that would potentially swing a lot of damage. Constructed lightsaber on Kylo's a 4+4 swing, so being able to get rid of that at least before he attacks after his flip, if he doesn't Snapshot, like I said, can definitely help slow him down just a little bit. We also had recently previewed Tala Durith, first hero card with plot. She also gives each other friendly unit hidden. Now, they do have to be played that turn in order to have hidden because it affects when they were played. But it's a 3/3 cost, 3/3 Imperial Rebel unit, so can take advantage of important traits. Also has good synergy in a Rebel package. I know I've seen some Sabine yellow. That might be around until rotation, but another good solid piece that I think. Something that I think is going to be kind of underrated is going to be Hunter. Now, Hunter's a little more expensive. I don't think he's the best card in Cunning for Hero, but he will fill out the 6-drop slot, especially post-rotation, where we see cards like Poe Dameron and Wrecker fall out of decks. He is a 6-cost, 7/6 fringe clone. Does have Saboteur. And then on attack, if the defender is exhausted, it gets -4/-0 for this attack. Now, before rotation out, I could definitely see this seeing some use in decks that potentially have ECL or Timely. Those are good targets for him. Having Saboteur with a high stat line and getting that -4 could see something. Not sure where it'll fit, but I'd like to see maybe some off-meta fringe deck where he could see some play. Now, moving on to Aggression. I really think that Aggression Villainy got some amazing pieces, especially moving post-rotation, where Thrawn JTL could kind of be the one of the decks or multiple decks that is to beat. So Arinda, 4 for 4/4. When defeated, you may defeat another friendly unit. Now, the kicker is that if you do, you deal 4 damage to each enemy base. Now, you have to have something in play to do it, to defeat of your own, but the potential of doubling that with Thrawn, to 8 damage and sneaking out a win real quick, you could play it with a lot of low-cost units. I'd have to go back through and look at all of them, but before rotation, you have, I can easily think of 6 1-drops that you could drop, and then, get her defeated. Find a way to get her, run her into something, play a merciless contest, sack her, sack the other unit. But also, not to digress, but it will be something that sees a lot of play in Twin Suns. Playing Thrawn Twin Suns. That's already happening now, but this could be the kicker for it. And talking about all of these cards today, there's already been a couple that we've talked about that would pair really well with Thrawn JTL. But one of the other cards that I chose for today was Mirage. So Mirage is actually kind of in a middle ground spot where it's kind of key for a lot of decks in that 5-drop. But it's a 3/7 Separatist official. While a friendly unit is attacking a damaged unit, the attacker gains Overwhelm. Well, guess what? When played, she deals 3 damage to an undamaged unit. So it sets you up for having Overwhelm. That's really giving Overwhelm to other units. Tarkin from JTL, the unit did that. And then, you have Maul from Shadows, did that as well. So, it's one of those things where it allows you to set up yourself with one card, deal 3 damage or take it out, and then run in and either defeat it and do damage to base or, trade, whatever you're looking to do. Now, continuing with the heroic upgrade hate, we have Cadel or Cadel Connix, 3 for 3/2. When played, you may defeat all non-unique upgrades on a unit. So more upgrade hate. She also has plot. So deploying your leader, when you deploy a leader, you may play this card from your resources, paying its cost, replace it with the top card of your deck. So I've talked about it a little bit, but plot I think is going to be pretty important moving forward. I still wish we would get more smuggle cards, but plot's going to allow for some crazy plays, synergies, things that are going to happen that aren't going to be super expected all the time. Also, to kind of go with that next card is going to use the other mechanic from the set, which is Disclose. So this would be the first card with Disclose to make the list today. It's a Luthen's Hallcraft at 5 cost. It's a 5/3 Rebel Vehicle Transport. But when defeated, you may choose an opponent and disclose 2 aggression and 1 heroic. Reveal the cards from your hand with these aspect icons among them. If you do, that opponent discards 2 cards from the hand. Now, I don't think it's going to be in every red deck out there, but it could see some potential play just because of the discard or hand hate that is attached with it. But it is Rebel Vehicle Transport, so who knows? I just think it's a pretty decent card overall. Now on to our last aspect. So for Command, I think that a lot of really good Command cards have already been previewed. I don't know if they're going to be the best, but I do feel that very strongly that these are pretty decent. So Major Partagaz, he's 2 cost, Imperial Official 0/6, Overwhelm. So he does have that keyword. When another friendly official unit attacks, this unit gets +2/+2 for this phase. Now, either he's just going to be mediocre, or he could sneak up on you and really surprise you, depending on how many officials you are playing in your deck. But not the most overpowered card, but there is potential huge upswing for official decks here, especially at the 2 cost drop. I do think that Chancellor Palpatine is probably one of the best cards previewed so far, just because he's a 3-drop, 2/2 Republic official. When played, if you control a leader unit, create 2 spy tokens and give those tokens Sentinel for this phase. And he has plot. So having plot and having the ability to play your leader, plot him out, drop out 2 spy tokens, and then give him Sentinel, I think that's such a tremendous swing to have something at a 3-drop, even if it's not a terribly good stat line at 2/2, but just having the ability to create 2 spy tokens, Sentinel, change your board presence, and protect your leader. I think it's insane. I think it's a really good plot. I think that the heroic units are still really good, but I don't know. That's Chancellor Palpatine is insane. I think he's going to be cracked. I do think that C-3PO is going to be a decent 1-drop unit, 1/3 action, exhaust, return this unit to its owner's hand, give a unit +2/+2 for this phase. So, I mean, it's basically the long-winded version of a fleet lieutenant, and just fits in a lot of gaps for curves. If you don't have cards to draw, just keep playing them. I think Salacious Crumb sees a decent bit of play. The other R2 and C-3PO cards, 1 and 2 drops, see a lot of play. But I think there's some potential to see him quite often. I think that Naboo Royal Starship might be one of my favorite cards to come out for Command Heroic. And it's a 4 cost, 2/5 Naboo Vehicle Transport. Each friendly leader unit gains Raid 2 and Overwhelm. So I think that with plot, that could be pretty decent on the leader deploy. But also I think this is going to be another card. I think all the plot cards are going to be just sneaky good inside of Twin Suns as well. And once the full set's done, I'll do a deep dive into Twin Suns, because that's really where I play the most of my games. But huge on Naboo Royal Starship. One of the last cards for command hero that I want to talk about is Mon Mothma. So 7 drop, 5/8 rebel official with restore 3. But when you play her, you can attack with any number of other units, one at a time. Even if those units are exhausted, they can attack. They can't attack bases for these attacks. So even if you have things that you just want to get attacks off that have on attack triggers, this could be huge. But the other thing you got to think about is how many units are you going to have on the ground at 7 post rotation, where there's far less removal. We are starting to see a little bit of removal pop up for this set, but I don't think that it's going to be, between this set and Outlaws, the amount of removal that is going to phase out. We're losing all kinds. We're losing Merciless Contest. We're losing Vanquish. We lose Takedown. Rivals Fall. I mean, there's just so much. Force Lightning. Getting rid of their abilities and the for them to gain abilities as well, but also you can damage it. So I mean, there's a lot of things that are just going to be gone that could potentially allow for us to have more units on the ground to take advantage of it. Who knows? And that leaves us to our last 2 cards, Gonk Droid. Anytime you can reduce the cost of something, I think that it has the potential to be played. People are definitely going to play around with it for a little bit. I think that with 3PO coming out, we'll probably see some all droid lists. And with Gonk being able to play droids cheaper, he is a droid. He's a 2-drop, 1/3. On attack, he gets the reduction for 1. Pretty decent. But one of my other favorite cards that I think, being common, is pretty awesome is Unveiled Might. Now, 4, it might be a little much at 4 cost, but having neutral and being a +2/+3 with plot, it allows a lot of these other, weaker leaders that don't have very good stats. I'm looking at Kylo Ren from Shadows. Also looking at Cal Kestis. Not that I would play it with Cal Kestis, but just in general, having weaker statted leaders draws a lot of people away from them. Now, using a plot card to potentially protect and bump the stats of your leader, probably not the best play all the way around. But, if Kylo Ren can do it, why can't you with your favorite leader? That's all the time we have for today, but I do want to say thanks for stopping in, watching. I hope if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. And until next time, mulligan responsibly.